Yes, everybody, welcome back to Football United TV. This is Introduce Yourself show. I'm joined by a very special guest today, Charlotte from the Dale Way. And before we start off, you know what's coming. It's the intro. Yes, everybody, I'm back with Charlotte. Charlotte, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm really good apart from the hay fever, but I'm really well. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. And by the way, everybody in the comments, if you're watching right now, can you sense this hay fever from Charlotte? I can't tell that she's got it, but I do believe her. It's complete. So look, Charlotte, we wanted to ask you on. You've been on before. We love having you on.
Oh, thank you. I love being on. It's always a pleasure.
It is a pleasure, and I love your Spotify podcast as well. By the way, I've listened to it a fair few times as well. It's really good. I love the intro to it as well. It's like a real podcast. You know what I mean? Where you're like you're waiting to come back, and they've done the intro. It's brilliant. But I want to ask you. Let's go way back. How did you get into football? Your love for football. Where did it all begin, Charlotte? Where did it all happen?
Well, I blame my dad. From being a baby, he's a massive Rochdale fan. From being a baby, obviously, I had the kits. And then when I was old enough, I was 5, I started going to obviously watch Rochdale with him. First of all, I will admit it was for a pie and it was to wave at the mascot, Desmond the Dragon. I will admit that. And then the more I obviously started going, I became invested. And then my mum and dad split up when I was a young age. So it was kind of mine and my dad's thing to do on a Saturday. Going, what we'd do, obviously I didn't go into the betting shop as well, but we'd put some Maccas on and then go and watch the football. It was just, mine and my dad's thing. And then we just ended up going home and away, constantly watching Rochdale.
And that was it. Literally came from family, and you lived through it, and now you're literally doing your podcast for Rochdale, which is the Dale Way, right? So how did that all begin? Like from just supporting them to thinking, you know what, I fancy talking about my team. I know you don't want to talk about them too much at the moment. You'll probably tell us the reasons why, but explain ahead.
It was mental, really, because it was always something I'd been quite interested in doing, just podcasts in general, because I'm a typical woman, I can talk a lot. But then obviously when it comes to football as well, and obviously Rochdale, they are my passions. And in October, November last year, Rochdale actually pledged their support to the campaign Her Game Too. And I put a post on Twitter and I was like, this is brilliant. I've always been interested in doing a podcast about Rochdale. Any female Rochdale fans interested? And that's when obviously Isabel pops up and she was like, yeah, I'm really interested. And it's mental, really, because me and Isabel never really known each other. We've never met each other. But it was just madness. Like she's only 21 as well. So someone quite younger than me was so invested and so much like me, and honestly she's like a little sister, and our friendship has grown because of that as well. And obviously like it's quite
it's
good
all
as
happened
well
online, right, Charlotte? It's all happened online, these friendships, right?
It's all happened, like I said, it's all happened online, and we've had a lot of support as well, and the club have been nothing but brilliant with us. They reached out to us and said, we think it's really good. Our chairman as well said it's a really good idea, really good initiative. If you need any help whatsoever, just let us know. And it's just been really refreshing. And obviously from that podcast, we've ended up with our own programme feature as well, in the Rochdale Match Day programme, which is just, it's amazing. And we do a blog as well. So obviously if people can't get to games, or if there's people who's not a Rochdale fan, they can read what we've wrote. And yeah, it's just really good. It's surreal, really, because from being that little girl sat with my dad waving at Desmond the Dragon to now having my own page in the program, it's just crazy. Good crazy, but it's mental.
But yeah, Charlotte, it's so good is that the fact that you're rising and you're getting bigger and bigger, and the work you do with Her Game too as well, especially amazing. Shout out to Lucy and Eve and everybody else that deals with Her Game too, because I saw them at the Euros as well, and just magnificent to see like how things are changing, especially from when I was younger as well. And look, I think the fact that you said that you started this podcast, you didn't expect ever to do it, and now the club are getting on board and they're appreciating it as well. And I'm pretty sure the players are listening into your podcast every now and then, surely, right? You got a few links there.
Yeah, well, I kind of, as much as I do like to say what I think and stuff, I do like to bite my tongue as well. I don't obviously like upsetting people. So with the players, I am honest, but obviously to a point where if they are listening, I'm not I'm not being too harsh. Especially
You're not like Simon Jordan on TalkSport. You don't really criticize.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that. I'm not at that level, not yet anyway, and I'm hoping not to be at that level. But yeah, and like you mentioned, the campaign Her Game Too and the girls from that, they're doing an amazing job. And that from Her Game Too and me joining the team, it's all come from my podcast, because I obviously show my support, and me and Isabel talked about it quite a lot on our podcast. We had Lucy on our first episode, and she's fantastic. And just from that, just what doors it's opened for me, it's amazing. And if I can help somebody, if I can make a difference, or if I can inspire someone, a young girl or even an older woman, to even go to football matches or just talk about it and feel comfortable talking about it, I've done my job, and that's all what it's about.
Well, you're definitely the unsung hero, definitely, Charlotte, because what you're doing is you are actually bringing more and more people into it. This is the reason why I'm doing this right now, is to show people that there are people out there like you doing these things, and it really should be encouraged, because at the end of the day, encouragement creates beauty, because we all can have opinions and share them with each other. And I think we're both roughly from the same generation, so when we were younger, it was a lot different, wasn't it? Women were really pushed back from having an opinion on what they thought about football, and look at it now, it's incredible.
Yeah, of course. Even playing football as well, like we've just watched the Lionesses tournament, and obviously we've won, and I just think it's crazy. And I've mentioned before, and I've always been open and said, as much as obviously I am a female and I love football, I've always been brought up watching the man's game. And even for me, this tournament was my first proper tournament watching the Lionesses, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And just how women's football in general, like, I think it was it the Spanish El Clasico, the women's final? It broke records, the attendance.
Yes, at the Camp Nou.
Yeah, even from that, and then obviously the Lionesses, we've obviously won, and I think, was it the next game against USA? Didn't it sell out within 24 hours or something? And
yeah, so the game that's in October, which is between England and USA, right, at Wembley, is a sellout. Actually, I think they had about 2 or 3 million people trying to call in for tickets, which shows you how many people really wanted to go, that they actually literally had to push back millions of people and say, sorry, we're sold out. So that, I mean, maybe we could have a renovation of the Wembley, mate, and we can have like maybe 200 million people there, because one day there's going to be that many. Not that many, but I'm over exaggerating, but I think definitely we need bigger stadiums, because women's football right now is booming. And it's good to see that they got the deal as well, haven't they? I think Sky Sports.
Yeah, I think they have. And it's just like even little things I've saw on social media, like we obviously get male footballers on our shirts. And I think Jordan Henderson, I can't remember which footballer he had, but he had one of the women football players on the back of his shirt. And I thought things like that, it's just brilliant. And it's really reassuring to see like these famous people obviously going watching the women's game or supporting women, because at the end of the day, these are the role models that obviously the younger generation look up to, and the older generation too. And if they're obviously getting involved and if they're doing things like that, it's all positive, and hopefully we can make a change. No matter who it is, we can all make a change, because I just think in general, it shouldn't be men's football, women's football. It should just be football in general. And just because I'm a woman, I shouldn't be discriminated because I'm a woman, because I'll probably have the same opinion as the next man, or maybe we don't share opinions. Maybe like, yeah, I just don't see why it should be an issue just because I'm a woman.
Yeah, exactly. But then you look at it, if a man had an opinion about women's football, you wouldn't sit there and go,
No.
well, hang on, you're a man, like it's nothing to do with you. Like, you know, it's not like that.
Exactly.
It's football. It's a sport. You can see skills, you can see tactics, you can see gameplay, you can see characteristics, and that's something that's worthy of a conversation, isn't it? From any gender of person. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, 100%. And I was on a different podcast last week as well, and one of the hosts brought up a great point, and like, we get the comments, get back to the kitchen, make me a sandwich. And he actually said Jamie Oliver wouldn't get that in a kitchen. He's a man, he wouldn't get that, and stuff like that. So why should, like, we're obviously been tied in and saying females belong in a kitchen and stuff, but it's like things like that, or like a doctor, if it's a female doctor or nurse, or even in a supermarket, you wouldn't get people chanting and like discriminating them because of a gender. So why does it have to be in football? And I know obviously people say it's a man's game and stuff, but why should it be a man's game? Why can't we all enjoy it? And as much as people haven't in the past, and I've seen it on social media, like even when the Lionesses won and they're like, oh, it's females and blah de blah. If you don't like it, don't watch it. When no one's making you watch it, so why do you have to be ignorant? It just really gets on my nerves. Why do you have to be ignorant?
It's one of those things, isn't it, where like it can't just be from your voice. Like you can't just say that just because you don't like something, everybody else has to sort of follow suit.
Yeah,
you know, like if you don't like it, don't watch it. Let everybody else enjoy it. What's the problem with that? Like it's always seems to be like people have an agenda against certain things because, like you said, they think it's a man's sport, and it's like, yes, okay, the physicality may be a bit stronger, but
yeah, like, of course, that's expected in most sports. To be fair, even like it's like even in tennis, and what I do like about stuff like tennis is that's always pretty much seemed to be, you've got your women's and your men's kind of thing, and that's what I'm hoping football does become. It is more familiarized with obviously both genders as well, and it's expected, don't get me wrong. Even in, you watch the Commonwealth Games and stuff now, and it's expected that obviously men typically are stronger kind of thing than women's, but it doesn't mean that we're not capable of doing something as well. Like us women, if you put your mind to it, we can be just as good at it, and we shouldn't be discriminated just because we're a woman.
Like I think Serena Williams actually come out, they were talking about facing at Andy Murray, like, and she was like, he beat me 50 times out of 50, like he's unstoppable. But Serena is one of the greatest of all time.
Exactly.
In tennis period, because of what she's done and the power that she has and what she had to go through as a person to be able to play the sport. And it's only boosted up women's participation in tennis. And I can see that with football as well. I mean, the Lionesses winning, and I say Lionesses, Lions, whatever. Like it doesn't
exactly. Like,
separating it, like just the England team, like this is the first English team to bring a trophy back since '66, and we should be very proud of that, no matter what gender it is. Like it is our country bringing that.
Exactly. I completely agree.
It's the world, isn't it? Unfortunately, but hopefully we're changing that. Hopefully, with the fact that we're doing things like this, even if it's only 10 people that check it out,
it's still somebody at the end of the day. That's how I see it. It's still someone.
Exactly. If you can change one person, then that's good enough. You're doing something good. Got loads of comments for you here, I think, as well. Big up Charlie, the co-owner of the channel. Big up family. Looks like an upgraded version of Matty and Charlie, doesn't it? Okay. I'm good. Talk. Mario Hansen says, I'm super proud of you, following you the last year, getting to know you and see how far you've come with all your football stuff. I'm so proud. Keep pushing it. You're doing amazing. I'm guessing you know Mario, yeah?
Yeah, shout out to Mazza.
Big up, Mario. Thank you so much for the lovely comment for Charlotte. Big up, Charlotte from Talk MU. Big up, Talk, mate. Mario says, Char for PM. That's not private. That's not private message. That's Prime Minister. And I actually agree with that, because who's running right now?
Exactly. I couldn't do a worse job than these people. So I'm not saying I could do better, but I couldn't do worse.
We could have Prime Minister's questions times on the day the day away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Everybody,
I love
go
that,
check out the
actually.
day away as well.
I like that.
There you go. Go check out the dial well, everybody, if you can, please. Charlie says, like, share, subscribe, everyone. Big up, Charlotte, and thank you for sharing your story with us. And Talk MU says, behind every great man is a great woman. My mum told me that many times, and it's a fact. There you go. There you go. So moving on. I know you don't want to talk about this too much, maybe, Charlotte, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on Rochdale AFC. So look, what's happening with Rochdale? Start of the season now. How are we feeling?
Do you know what? Obviously, we've lost our first two. We won in a Carabao Cup last night. It was only against Burton, and Burton are really struggling at the minute. So it's still a win. We can't really take much from it because they were awful, to be fair. But not typical Rochdale, actually. Quite a surprise. We kept a clean sheet, which is a bonus. We scored 2, one being a penalty. We actually got a penalty. So I was shocked about that.
Is that rare for Rochdale to get a penalty?
What's that, sorry?
Is that rare for Rochdale to get a penalty?
Getting a penalty and actually scoring it is rare.
Oh, right.
But in the league, we've lost our first 2, but it's early days. Don't get me wrong, it is frustrating. You always want to win. But I think, to be fair, I think this season will be very similar to last season. Total rebuild again. We had 13 players. Can't speak. We had 13 players leave us, obviously. Yeah, it's just me. It's just my brain. It's just Charlotte brain. We had 13 players leave us. Obviously, we've brought in pretty much a brand new squad. Only plus thing is, most of these are Robbie Stockdale's players. So, obviously, last season, we had a few of our old manager, Brian Barry Murphy's players. So, with that, you can tend to get people who don't really want to perform for him, people who are already like negotiating moves.
Hang on, are you talking about Rochdale or Man United right now? I can't tell.
I think, do you know what? I think it is like a mini Manchester United. The only difference is we are fan owned, so we've not got the Blazers. Yeah.
Good for that.
But yeah, I think it's just going to be a total rebuild again. I think it's going to be quite a frustrating season. I'd be happy with a top half finish. A lot of the fans in pre-season when we were winning were saying, oh, we're going up. And they need to be more realistic. It's really good to be ambitious, but there's being ambitious and then there's being like living in a dream world. And even if we did push for a playoff spot, I don't think it is right for us to get promoted this season, because I think it'd be far too early. I think if we did get promoted this season, we'd end up going straight back down.
You need your new manager to set in, right? And like you said as well, it's about a rebuild. So it's not necessarily like you're going to have to bring in the players to really rebuild in literally 6 months, because you really got to go straight away, haven't you?
100%. And I just feel personally, I think if we this season and maybe another season in League Two and get ourselves comfortable, get ourselves like on our feet again and getting used to the manager and stuff, I think hopefully then we could push on. But yeah, I'd be more than happy with the top half finish. But I do think from Stockdale, he does need to make some changes, because he seems quite, don't get me wrong, he can take the criticism, he can hold his hands up as well when obviously he's wrong and stuff. But for some reason, the formation that he plays 3 at the back, and then he plays with wing backs, and it just doesn't work. It didn't suit us last season.
So that kind of says it kind of says that you don't have confidence in your defense, doesn't it, to play free at the back, right? Mm.
Yeah, and with that as well, I just feel like obviously I'd go with a standard 4-4-2, where obviously you've got your defenders and you've got your wingers as well. You've got two strikers. Where I just feel with this 3-5, whatever he's playing, I don't even know. Do you know what? I don't even know.
So playing free at the back and then wing backs as well.
Yeah,
right?
I don't understand it. But with that formation as well, we're not really creating much.
Mm.
And as much as, don't get us wrong, Rochdale for years now, no matter who's at the back, I think it's since Craig Dawson left us. Obviously, he's at West Ham now. Since Craig Dawson left us, our defence has been awful and we've conceded a hell of a lot of goals. And I just think to myself, I personally think it's because the managers since then, we've obviously been playing with the formation. Obviously, we want to play football. A lot of people laugh at us saying, "Oh, are you typical League Two long ball?" And we're not. We're a side who actually does attempt to actually play football. But I think with these certain formations and this new style they are bringing in, obviously it is making us quite sloppy at the back, and then we are conceding the goals. And I just feel like last season and the last two games, the two games gone this season, we're just not creating enough. And when we are going behind, we're just then obviously going behind, and we've not got time then to obviously find our feet and get into the game. Because with us in particular, with Rochdale, it does take us a while to actually get into the game. So it's annoying because obviously we're playing this formation, we're going 1-2 goals behind, and then when we're finally getting into the game and creating something, it's too late. And I just feel like he's making it difficult for himself. But by him being stubborn and playing this formation, a lot of the fans are now obviously getting frustrated with him. They're spending money going travelling, and like Gillingham at the weekend, they spent however long travelling to Gillingham, spending the money. The performance was just dire. I watched it on iFollow, and it was terrible. We just didn't put any effort in, and I just feel like it needs to do something, because it doesn't want to, obviously, and we don't want to as well. We want him to do well. He's a very likable bloke and stuff, but I just feel like he doesn't help himself. He really doesn't.
Do you think the ownership as well is good and decent to him? Do you think they're giving him everything that he needs, the tools, the tasks that he's been required to handle this situation with taking over?
Yeah, of course. Obviously we're Rochdale, we're fan owned, so we've not got a lot of money compared to people in that league. Like, you've got Bradford now, obviously they've got Mark Hughes as manager.
Wow. Yeah.
You have your Salfords, who obviously they've got money behind them. Stockport now, we cannot compete with that budget. We've never been able to. We've always had to like bring players on and then sell them to survive. We've never really had the budget. And this is where I do sympathise with him a little bit, because obviously in January we sold Aaron Morley to Bolton. He's doing really well. He was out of contract in the summer, so obviously we made our money on him. Jake Beasley went to Blackpool, so we got quite good money for him. Connor Grant this summer, we obviously lost him. He's a massive player, but obviously he was out of contract next year. So we have made our money, and we do have to make our money. So I do sympathise him in one respect, because he doesn't have budgets like the rest of the league. But at the same time as well, this is one of the first times in years, and even January just gone, where we have thought, do you know what, here's the money, you spend. And he spent it. Don't get me wrong, he brought in Tavon Campbell, one of the highest non-league strikers, Luke Charman. Unfortunately, it's been quite hard because they've both got injured now. So obviously injuries are not on our side. We've brought in James Ball, who's a great player, and he's a really good asset. But unfortunately last season, towards the back end, we lost him as well when he was on quite a good goal scoring run.
Unlucky.
Yeah, so I just feel like even this season as well, I just feel like luck isn't on our side. Jimmy Keohan, one of our experienced left backs, he's out again, injured. Liam Kelly, our midfielder's injured already. Luke Charman.
Wow, it sounds like there's a lot of difficulties right now with Rochdale, but
it's
like
just
people
because when we're down, kind of thing. Yeah.
But people are still saying promotion.
With our, do you know what? With our fans, they are the most. We'll lose a couple, and it's so negative. When we win a couple, we're getting promoted. We're going to win it. As much as, don't get me wrong, I can be the same. This time last year, when we went on a run in September, I was planning our promotion party, but then I thought, you know what? We've got to be realistic here. But with our fans, honestly, it's just. If he gets a couple of wins under his belt, we'll be the next best thing again. And Robbie Stockdale in. It's just they're just so fickle. They really are.
Look, I remember that with Ole. You know, he's at the wheel. How does it feel? And now look where he is.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, you don't always want to like keep your hopes up too much and hope they get backed. I've got a question here from Mario actually for you. Got a few comments. Everybody, smash the like, share, subscribe if you can. Mario Hansen says, "What other podcasts have inspired you to make your own?"
Oh,
good question.
This is a tough one, really, because I never was really a podcast listener and familiar with the podcast side. But then, obviously, like starting the day away and obviously then getting into it, I have appeared on several podcasts, YouTube channels, Twitch channels, and there's a fair few that obviously I go on quite a bit, and they've obviously given me the platform today. But just in general, during COVID, we've got another podcast, a Rochdale one called RochdaleAFC.com, and they actually won Northwest Best Football Podcast, which is just amazing to say. Obviously, it's Rochdale as well.
Northwest as
And
well.
that would probably be the one that inspired me. And I thought, do you know what? They're absolutely smashing it right now, and it'd be nice to obviously get something from a female's point of view as well. And that's obviously why we started ours. But they've been absolutely fantastic as well, and they had me on really early on when I first started a podcast, and yeah, they're really supportive, which is great. So I would probably say RochdaleAFC.com.
There you go, Mario. Very good answer as well. Very good answer. Rochdale are going to win before Man United in the league. I probably reckon so. I know I'm a Man
He's
United
a Manchester United fan, to be fair, Mario.
So am I. So Mario, I'm with you on that, mate. I'm fully on board. Charlie Miller says Rochdale has a couple of really young players. Do you see any of them having careers in higher divisions? Good question.
Oh, well, we've had a few in the past. We've obviously had, as I mentioned, Aaron Morley, and to be fair, I think he could go on and probably smash Premier League. Ollie Rathbone, we actually got him from Manchester United. He was a young Manchester United lad, and he's playing in a championship now with Rotherham. So he's doing really well. I'm trying to think who else we've had. We've got one now, Ethan Briley, and he's a midfielder, and he looks fantastic. He looks really, really good. And he's only very young. I think he's 18, 19. So obviously he's really young, but he looks good. But as much as obviously we've had the academy players, we're quite well known for obviously buying players from like the lower leagues, or buying players when they've obviously like had a bit of a standstill in the career. Like obviously Grant Holt was one of them, Adam Lafondra, Glenn Murray. We bought Scott Hogan and Craig Dawson from obviously lower league. So we're quite well known for, even if we don't actually produce them ourselves, we're well known for obviously like getting them to the next step, and then obviously a big team comes in and
Glenn Murray's on the TV now, isn't he? Glenn Murray, he's on the TV, I think now. He's a pundit, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And obviously Ricky Lambert was one as well. He was another one for us. We have had quite a few. Tom Heaton was one. Obviously, we had him on loan from Manchester United, and while he was in net as well, he didn't concede a goal. So I wish he was back with us.
I actually, I think I've said to you before, haven't I, about Rochdale coming down to Barnet years ago, and the fans are lovely. I think Stevenage Borough were the worst fans we've ever had, but that's a local thing, and they literally just ripped the pub up. This was when Barnet were at Underhill and not at the Edgware Road ground.
Oh, I've got a funny story actually about Barnet.
Go for it. Go on.
I went to Barnet away. I think it was actually the old ground as well. And me and my dad went, and I was coming down, I think, with tonsillitis at the time, so I was quite lethargic anyway. And the game, it was a boring 0-0, and it was honestly one of the worst games I ever had. And I actually fell asleep, stood up at the football game. I was stood up and I fell asleep. My dad had to keep going, Charlotte, Charlotte, and like tapping me on the shoulder. I was full on snoring.
Can you imagine why? Well, I mean, it must have been a bloody boring game. I think I was there as well.
Yeah,
I was sleeping on the opposite side.
yeah, honestly, it was terrible anyway. But like I said, it was quite like, I think it was quite a hot day as well. And obviously watching Barnet versus Rochdale 0-0, it's not the most appealing game anyway, but being there in person. And
It wasn't when they had Edgar Davids then, no? Do you remember Edgar Davids, the Juventus player?
It could have been, you know.
He's wearing his glasses. He wore them at night. I remember watching him and like.
I'm sure it was, you know, because I'm sure Keith Hill was our manager, and we were quite at the time. I think we had a quite decent team as well, and obviously we was like all up for it and stuff. And I think that was one of the reasons me and my dad went specifically, you know, because we were doing well at the time. And that game, like, no, it's not in my top 10 favorite games anyway.
I was probably there because I went pretty much every game, even before Edgar Davids was there, but for a very long time. And then they moved away, and I was like, I'm not going to Edgware to watch Barnet because it's not in Barnet. It doesn't resolute to me. Got another one here. No, we got that one. Evening, Matt and Charlotte from Eagle Eye Football. Big up. Really good channel on Crystal Palace. Rich in the house. Big up, Rich. And do you like this balance of a squad where most of the players are either under 23 or over 33? That's a question and a half, isn't it?
Oh, well, we have got quite a good balance at Rochdale, and obviously, as much as you still need your younger players and stuff, I think you do need your older ones as well for the experience, for that encouragement and stuff. And luckily with us, we had that last season with Owen O'Connell, our captain, but unfortunately he left. We've signed Ian Henderson back, who's a club legend. He's 37. Don't get me wrong, so he can't play every game, but just to have
Ronaldo. It does sound like Man
true,
United.
true.
What's going on?
I know. Just to have him in the dressing room is just like, wow. We've got Rich O'Donnell from Bradford, who's a goalkeeper. I think he's around a similar age. Jim McNulty, who's been there for years, and he's in his late 30s as well. I think as much as obviously we do need your up-and-coming young players and stuff, I do think it is essential to have your older heads, and even if they can't play every game, just to have that experience and just to have that encourage vital.
It is, isn't it? Definitely if you want to push for promotion and not go into the National League, especially. Big up Matt and Charlotte from Solo from the Man United Agenda. Big up Solo, fellow DJ. Adrian Hart, can't wait for the Shah v.A. Derby match, Rochdale v. Portsmouth. It's going to be happening soon, surely.
Hey, I do know Aid. Know him well. He's one of my friends.
Big up, Adrian. Smash
we
the
are
like.
Going to beat him, though.
Big up
we will
to all
them.
you. You reckon you will, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I'm always confident going into games. It's when I'm not at the games and we're 2-0 down within 15 minutes where I lose my confidence.
Or you might just fall asleep if it's that boring, right?
Yeah. Stood up.
Get her a Bovril. She'll be okay.
I tell you what, though, it's one of the best naps I've ever had.
Wow, I don't know whether that's insulting.
My dad couldn't wake me up. He was like, "That Charlotte, come on." He even called me Charlotte. My dad's like the only person who doesn't call me Charlotte. He'll call me Lottie, and it's just been his thing from being younger. But yeah, I got the full Charlotte. So
Charlotte,
I wasn't impressed.
I've got your hot dog. Wake up.
Yeah.
Anthony says,
if he got me a hot dog, I probably would have woke up, to be fair.
Big up Matt and Charlotte from Anthony. Brendan Victor, greetings from South Africa. Matt and Charlotte, greetings, mate. I wonder how it is down there, mate. I bet it's pretty hot. I know it is here. Mario Hansen, Ole is here in Norway. Oh, Mario's from Norway. Brilliant,
yeah, he's Norwegian, yeah.
I love Norway. Very expensive for a pint. So if I'm ever out there, mate, please buy me one. Yo, Matt, big up, fella. Big up to Bill Baggio. Love that name as well. Question: what have been the highs and lows so far with the work you've done with HDGT. You're doing a great job, Charlotte.
Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I think the lows has got to be, even though there's so many positives and stuff, and I've learned not to let the nasty comments get to me. There's always one person, no matter how hard you try, they do want to bring you down. And I've just put it down to the fact now it's jealousy. And I say it to all the other girls, it's just jealousy. And that's probably the lows. Just now and again, you'll get the odd nasty comment and stuff, but it's usually after you've done something really well or you get the praise. They just want to bring you down. But I've learned not to let that bother me now. And the highs, there's just so many. Obviously, just in general, working with the Her Game 2 girls, being part of their recent video as well was amazing. But I think the highs for me in particular is obviously just getting messages off like a dad or a mum saying you've inspired a young girl. And as much as I love inspiring people in general, I think that comment with the young generation as well, that just really makes me happy, because I just think that was me one day. And I wish I had the campaign there, and I wish I had the encouragement, from other people, kind of thing. And yeah, I just think inspiring just the younger generation for me is just up there. I really do.
Mate,
that's my favorite thing.
That's amazing. Just having someone younger looking up to you, and their parents as well, signifying that this is great for my kid to see what you're doing, and this might make something out of her as well. Like she might give the drive to go and be a football player or a pundit or anything she wants to be. It doesn't necessarily mean that she wants to be what you're doing, but yeah, go on, Charlotte.
Actually, on Rochdale's, I got named Rochdale Her Game 2 ambassador. It was actually on my birthday as well, the 11th of March. And on the Saturday, the day after, was the Her Game 2 dedicated fixture. And I was there in the hospitality and stuff because I got invited in there. And one of the dads actually came up to me with his daughter and said, "Oh, are you Charlotte?" So I said, "Oh, yeah, that's me." I said, "Why?" I said, "What have I done now?" I was like, "Oh, God." I was like, "No, what I said during the game." I swore. But yeah, I was there, and he actually came up and he said, "Honestly, my young girl, Freya, she's called, listens to yours and Isabel's podcast. And obviously, I'm a Rochdale fan. She wasn't sure at first with it obviously being Rochdale, but now she listens to your podcast and she really wants to meet you." She was like, "Can she have a picture took with you?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "With me?" So just things like that is just amazing, honestly. And it made me smile. I had a tear in my eye because I was like, this is really, really nice. Just someone coming up to you and giving you the recognition.
Yeah, people are seeing what you're doing and they're appreciating it, like everybody in the comments as well. Like, I'm pretty sure you get it all over the place, Charlotte. It's really, really good stuff that you do. And I am going to have to ask you a little bit about Her Game 2 and how you got involved. But Mario says we have Hendo.
Come on, Hendo.
If you ever over here, guest room will be ready and the beer is on me. No problemo. Yeah, mate, there you go. He's in Oslo. You said you was in Oslo, Mario? Yeah. Brilliant. I love Oslo as well. Ivan Av is one of my favorite rappers, and he's from Oslo. I actually speak to him quite a lot. And Yogi Soul. Cool. I'm pretty sure Mario might know. Ivan Av, Yogi Soul. Get back to me, Mario. You have inspired young guys, young girls, and grown-ups to accept the football is for everyone. Be proud and keep on killing it. I don't think that was a question. That was just literally just to tell you how great. Charlie Millen, people are assholes exclusively for their own insecurities always. When you say something unkind to someone, it's a reflection on yourself, not the person you're trying to insult.
I love that. Love that.
It's very true. Because I think the thing you said as well, Charlotte, which is true, is it's only people giving you negativity when you're doing something positive. And it is jealousy, and there's no real way of changing it. But I think you got to focus on the positive feedback that you get, because that really is the main drive, isn't it?
100%. And it's always someone called like Bob 5678 with Cristiano Ronaldo or Neymar as his profile picture. It's never like a genuine like picture on their account. It's always someone they're hiding behind.
It is, isn't it? That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing. And hopefully that might be able to change that sometime. So at least you have to put in your details to be able to have something if you're going to go and slate somebody like that, you know?
Yeah.
Take responsibility for your words and your actions. That's what I say.
I completely agree.
So to finish off, Charlotte, just about her game too, you have talked about it a lot as well. And we did have you on last time with Lucy. Just want to sort of get you to tell people how important it is to go check out this organization, because it really is doing amazing things, and the clubs that are getting on board with the program as well is quite remarkable. I see it literally every week. A new club's always on board, and it's a really big deal as well from the clubs. And I just think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing. Tell us, Charlotte.
It's amazing. And just what I want to point out as well, because some people get confused, this is just all volunteers. Like, no one gets paid for it. This is all just people who want to volunteer their time into making a difference. And honestly, it's amazing. And one of the reasons why I started talking about pledging my support on a podcast was because, as much as obviously I've never had hate at the games, it's always been on social media. It's still hate at the end of the day, and we want to create a safe environment and safe spots for obviously girls, women, just people in general. And I do think as well, a lot of people don't like talking about their experiences, but since this campaign, a lot of people have been speaking out more, and being more open about it. And yeah, it's just like you said, it's just growing every day with partnerships, whether it's grassroots, whether it's actual league clubs. We've got Premier League clubs now who are obviously joining the campaign. Honestly, it's just amazing. And these girls work so hard. And like I said, they've got their own full-time jobs. They've got life in general, but they still dedicate like their own money. Like a lot of the girls dedicate their own money and stuff, and they put in their own money to try and like boost this, obviously. And honestly, they're amazing. Like every single person involved with campaign is just so amazing. And I'm just so lucky to be part of it, because as much as I can sit here and like talk about Rochdale and my experiences and stuff, I never would have thought I would have been involved with this massive campaign. And honestly, I just feel so humbled to just be part of it in general. And yeah, the partnerships as well, a lot of them, there's been times where I'm obviously in the Her Game 2 group chats, and there's been that many partnerships and grassroots teams as well where we just can't keep up, and we can't post some more like who we've joined, because there's just so many. And it's just so reassuring. And just seeing on social media the amount of like male support we get and the amount of male allies. And I've noticed as well, if ever one of the girls or someone gets like a nasty comment or like discriminating them, I know a lot of male people now and a lot of like male allies always stick up for us. And I just think, honestly, it's just fantastic. It really is fantastic.
It's good. Everybody should go check out Her Game 2 on Twitter, Instagram. Where else are they as well? I've only got, I think,
Facebook. We've got our own Her Game 2 podcast now, which is amazing. We have the Her Game 2 Twitter Spaces, which I host as well. Which, when Kaz said to me, "Do you want to host them?" I was like, "Me? Really?" I was like buzzing. The merchandise, like every item of merchandise that a person buys, it goes to improving grassroots football. And yeah, we're just everywhere. Just everywhere. Yeah.
And that's where you want to be. You want to be the conversation. What is that all about? Why is that there? What does that mean? And then people talk about it. Kids see it. Her Game 2. What's that, Dad? What's that, Mum?
100%.
And this gets the conversation brought up, and you want to be a part of the conversation, don't you? And that's the whole point of pushing the name out is to sort of say we're trying to build up the women's game, but women in football in general.
Exactly. And we've had a lot of not recently, but a few weeks ago, we had a lot of people like being quite mean and stuff and being like, oh, her game too, they're trying to take over. And it's not the fact we want to take over, because we really don't. It's the fact we just want to be acknowledged for being equal, and we want our opinion to count. We want people to actually listen to what we've got to say, because even though obviously we are females, it doesn't mean that we don't know what we're talking about. We just want a normal conversation about football, and we just want our points to be valid and people to listen. And I know it sounds crazy, especially coming from someone who supports Rochdale. Who would do that? Who would actually do that to themselves? I still blame my dad to this day. But yeah, I just don't want people to think that we are trying to take over, because we're really not. We just want, obviously, to be equal, and we just want to like build this safe spot for people to feel comfortable.
Exactly. And it's going amazing. It's going absolutely amazing. So everybody that's watching in right now, please take note, go check out The Day Away, her game too. Please support women in football, because football is not a man's sport. It's a people's sport. Thank you very much. That's simple, easy.
I love that.
Yeah, there you go. It's a people's sport. Charlotte, we literally got to wrap up there. We are 45 minutes in. This has been absolutely amazing. You've done very well through your hay fever as well, by the way. Not a sniffle from you at all.
No. When I get off, I've been holding my sneezes in. When I get off air now, I'll start sneezing. I'll have a sneezing fit.
So a couple of more comments. Charlie says, get ready for some Marta comments from me here. Marta is the GOAT. Prove me wrong. I don't know who Marta is. Who's Marta? Matt, it's winter here with temperatures like 2 -8. I just want to say that I think 2 -8. Really? No, in South Africa. Are you saying 28, or are you saying -8, or are you saying between -2 and -8, or are you saying between 2? Okay, actually, that's cold. Sorry, I'm getting what you're saying now. I just want to say that I think Charlotte is doing a fantastic job in trying to create this equal game for women's football.
Oh, thank you so much.
A lot of love for you, Charlotte. And thank you so much for coming on tonight. Can you please tell everybody where they can find you?
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure. And you can find me mostly on Twitter. I'm XaraFC, and my podcast is The Day Away. And you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much everywhere.
That's it. Charlotte, thank you so much for coming on. Second time as well.
Me.
Really lovely. No, honestly, I enjoy this. This is like, again, on my free time. I'm not getting paid for this. I work, so this is all for fun. I wouldn't do it otherwise. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in as well. Smash, share, like, subscribe if you can. I think we are on in 10 minutes for Gunners from All Corners, talking all things Arsenal with Marley, who's out in Brazil with a few other Brazilian fans. So tune in if you can. Until next time, take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.